Welcome to Portland. Top 10% of deprivation in the country. Why so many people living in poverty? An island defined by gentrification of the poor Caucasian, where government policy is riddled with controversy. So how do we change the narrative? By listening to people who survived it. Sat in the hospital ward hours after giving birth, the doctor comes in and tells me to heed his words. Lay off the partying and keep your legs shut. I stare at him aghast as I hold back the tears. His stereotyping and discrimination confirmed all my fears. I take my new baby back to their new home, and as I sit there all alone, I'm reminded of the midwife's parting phrase, "See you again in 2 years, they never wait that long at your age." Is that what I've become? A baby machine, society scum? You can't be a good mum, you're far too young, and the realisation hits hard that these generalisations have become my life song. I feel so lonely as I lie here at night, alone in the world, alone in my plight. How do I know who I'm meant to be, when my identity has been dictated by society? The loneliness cries, and no matter how hard I try, I keep picking the wrong guys. Would they have hit me, bit me, spit at me? Would they have assaulted me, demoralised me, faulted me, if I was valued and included by the rest of society? How do I find the strength in a society that thinks I'm weak and excludes me from all the help that I seek? We are biologically programmed to have coitus, so why do our friends and neighbours avoid us, when the only difference between you and I is a pregnancy test with 2 red lines? This could be the reason we have poor mental health. Why teenage mothers are 60% more likely to harm themselves, or 50% more likely to develop PTSD, and let's not forget that in the eyes of psychiatry, that these statistics are about children with adverse childhood experiences, having spent their lives dealing with socioeconomic disadvantage, intersectional and intergenerational trauma, commonly known as an ACE, and children who experience 4 different types are 16 times more likely to get pregnant in the first place. These facts do not absolve us from responsibility. They simply present another possibility. That children who can't choose who to marry, leave school or go to war should not have their fragility treated with hostility anymore. And where are all the men? Since when did parenting the next generation become a female problem? A 50-page prevention strategy, and even then, only 1 page is aimed at men. Why don't we value the father's contribution instead of targeting girls with systematic retribution? Legislation reminds us of parental responsibility, but with absent fathers there is no viability. As a nation, we exacerbate moral condemnation over a group of boys that struggle to trust, who we tell have no control over their lost. The government solution? Distribution of sex education in educational institutions. But the education system is failing white working class boys, outperformed by all other ethnicities. How can we expect them to engage with sex education when the curriculum is already failing an entire generation? Now you've read this, I hope you'll stop and think, next time you see a young parent walking down the street, because the words on this page have been written by young parents and I in a collaborative effort to shift the narrative about teenage parents and the view of them in Britain, to intercept the attempt to hold them in contempt, to offer support and hopefully prevent the stereotyping and discrimination and exclusion that is overwhelmingly present.